Hands up anyone who's been shot at. I have. It's a pretty interesting story. And before I finish today, I'm going to come back to that story. It was in fact such an interesting story that I decided that I wanted to get it published as a book. I did a lot of research, and I now have 2 versions of the book. So why am I telling you about this? Because you might have a good story, and one day you might want to know how to publish a book. Good news, and it's my point today. Because of modern technology, there are a number of different ways to publish a book. What I'm going to do today is look at the 3 main areas: mainstream, self-publishing, and niche publishing. And I'm going to go through a couple of cons and pros for each of them. First of all, mainstream publishing. According to Jim Malliott of Publishers Weekly, February 24, 2017, the big 5 US publishers, companies like HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, make billions of dollars in earnings every year from books. This is the major advantage of publishing. Your big publishers, your big mainstream publishers, have huge financial muscle to place behind a first-time author. The major disadvantage is you can't approach mainstream publishers direct. You have to get a literary agent, and literary agents will take 15% of your earnings just for the privilege of getting a book deal. It's also a very long process to get a literary agent. According to Chuck Sammartino of Writer's Digest, January 29, 2014, you ain't even started looking for a literary agent until you have approached at least 80. I approached 86, and I was rejected by all of them. Fortunately, technology is now such that you can publish your book online yourself. This is called self-publishing, and it's the second area that I'm going to look at. It has been made possible by digital technology called print on demand. This literally means that you can publish or print as many books online as you like, or as few books online as you like, and the customer does all the paying. Now, what is the main advantage of self-publishing? You get to keep all the royalties. The major disadvantage is you have to do all the work yourself. All the writing, the editing, the formatting, and the marketing, you have to do yourself. Now, I self-published through a company called Lulu, and I am not very digital, which is why I'm using a flip chart and I have such awful, if rather funny, artwork. I'm not digital. Self-publishing was very, very difficult for me. I completely screwed up the formatting and the editing. Here's the book that I published, self-published. It's called Dead Men Don't Eat Lunch. Looks great on the outside, it's a mess on the inside, because I couldn't do the editing. In fact, according to Robin Ramsey, who is the editor of Lobster UK, which is Britain's leading journal on intelligence matters, the content of the book was great. He said, you have probably discovered a major US, UK intelligence operation in the Middle East in the 80s that no one else found. But your book was a mess. You are a living, breathing example of the dangers of self-publishing. He was pretty blunt. So, does self-publishing make you money? I mean, it's all right about saying you keep the royalties, but are there enough royalties? In my case, no. But in some cases, yes. According to Stephen Spatz of Writers Cooperative, August 2nd, 2018, E.L. James, the author of 50 Shades of Grey, first self-published online. According to Celebrity Net Worth 2018, in 2018, she was worth $150 million, all from the sale of her books. Okay, which literally brings us to the third form of publishing, niche publishing. This is made possible by the same technology, print on demand. It allows small, committed publishers who have limited resources to support first-time authors who have a limited audience, people like me. I published through a company called Trine, and I produced the second version of my book called Maggie's Hammer. The major advantage is that they do all the work. The major disadvantage is they don't have any money, so you're not going to get $1 million PR campaign. This is the book, Maggie's Hammer, produced by Trine. Looks great on the outside, also looks great on the inside because they did all the work. However, I sold 391 copies. In conclusion, if you have a story to tell, there are several different ways you can now publish due to modern technology. Let's move on. Here are the main pros and cons. Mainstream publishing, you can make a lot of money. Major downgrade is it's a long process and other people get a cut. Self-publishing, you keep all the royalties. Downside, there's some crime, you have to do all the work. Niche publishing, I'm happy, they do the work. Major con is that you don't get very many sales. So, in conclusion, if you have a book that you want to publish, there are a number of different ways that you can publish due to modern technology. And I did say that I would close with my shooting story. I've changed my mind. You see, if you go on campus to Barnes & Noble and you look in the Clemson author section, you can find my book, you can buy it, and you can read the shooting story all on your own. I thank you for listening.